you beautiful lot, and welcome to today's episode of PurpleVision. Now, I'm in Wellingboroughs, right at the very top of Hatton Park estate, I suppose, where you've got Hatton Hall. Right at the very back of that, top of Brook Green, there is this little nature walk, and I love it. We in Wellingbourgh know it as Glamis Woods and Meadows, and it was a pocket park that was created for the Queen's Jubilee, but it was named after the Queen's mother, so whatever. There is a very important piece of history down here that is so important to Wellingbourgh, and well, isn't anymore, but it should be, and that's our Redwell Spring, which is why I believe our town should have been a royal spa town, because we had royals come to drink our waters. But so come with us now, and we'll have a little walk down through here for our winter edition, because well, it's all snowy and stuff, and I like that. But there is a little something I need to check out up here. In Wellingbourgh Museum, we've got an old piece of elm that used to be for an old water pump. Now apparently, because this ground is filled with water underneath, which is why you got the Redwell Spring, apparently there was a few more water wells and things up here, including another piece of elm sticking out the ground. And when it gets really wet, it chucks loads out. So I thought we'd just have a little look about before we actually go into Glamis Woods and Meadows. I'm glad I'm doing this now, because it's just started to rain and a bit of snow. So if it is rain, this snow isn't going to last, so I'm kind of glad I've got out here now to come and do this. Bloody right. Right, now where's that post? This is a bit of elm. Big chunk of it sticking out of the ground. Down this way, maybe. Maybe not that far. No. I don't know, I never got the proper coordinates off the gentleman. I know all this land up here seeps out loads of water when it gets really wet. Yeah, I'm really sorry, mate. You might have to come back to the museum and kind of let me know actually where this is. Oh, you know, I'm looking for that pump. Funny enough, I've just bumped into Mark. How you doing, Mark? All right?
Good, good.
Yeah, and he says it's this. So this used to be a railway sleeper up to here, but it had all the metalwork for the plumbing on it. And Mark was saying, when it's really, really wet and you get loads of rain, water just chucks up from under this tree and starts trickling down there. So yeah, how's that for good timing? Thank you very much. Right, I'm going to crack on. Awesome. Anyway, on to the main reason why we're here. Glamis Woods and Meadows. So I'm still looking for posts. Right. Yeah, I think that's sleet actually. Oh, great. Let's all get rid of all this stuff. Are we frozen? Oh, we're partially frozen. Yeah, yeah, right. I also saw a police report saying that the police went down to Kingsway Lake and they saw footprints right out into the middle. Are you stupid? I mean, you go out to Canada where the ice is something like 20 inches thick, but to do that on Kingsway Lake where it's half an inch thick, you go through that ice and the water moves you along, you ain't going to be able to get back up. Okay. Proper snow edition. Proper snowing. Oh. Nice, look at them icicles. Apparently the River Nene, whatever you want to call it, whatever side of border, froze over a couple of days ago, and apparently it thawed out last night. So I was going to go there, but because it's thawed out, there's no point. I've already filmed the embankment loads of times. Must have been a little bridge or something. Cool. Shout out to Danielle Marsden. This is her foraging grounds, and the amount of stuff that I've seen her cook up that she's got from this area is pretty amazing. So big love, Danielle, big love. Nice. We did have a big bit of destruction down here, and I don't know if you see my video over at Whitstead Park where they realigned the Slade Brook. They have destroyed a lot of land there, but it is for a good cause, and eventually the land will kind of repair itself, and you'll have your nature reserve back. So there's a couple of little spots that happen down here in exactly the same way, but not as sympathetic. So, I mean, I know it's winter and everything's all dead. Oh, look at it. But You might be able to tell the difference by now. And then I'll come back in the spring and we'll see what it's like then. God, it looks amazing. I do love this wood. It's just a bit frozen. Partially frozen. Still bits going through though. Nice. And just down there is where they did the land destruction. So let's just pop round there a minute and we'll have a quick look. Yeah, it just looks like a grassy area now, doesn't it? Oh dear. I'll see if we can show you the footage of what this was like when it first got done. I mean, they've removed the weir. I mean, why not even just repair it? I mean, look, you can see the bricks just in the dirt. At least it's looking green. It's looking lovely, actually. Recovered better than what majority of us thought. The only problem is this brook had started to meander in here and change its own way of moving through the land. So it created a nice little wet patch in there for a lot of invertebrates and other animals. So where they filled that all in and then realigned this properly. And they also got rid of a beautiful little weir that was down here as well. Luckily for us lot, Colin Armstrong has photos and I have videos. So shout out to Colin Armstrong, you absolute diamond of a guy. Yeah, it looks a lot better, to be fair. See, we had an out of town group come in and do the work and they really didn't care. They just did the job, done it and got out. But at least they removed all the fencing that was around, so they left it in a real bad state. Right, that's one area, and the other area that they cleared is up there. So where the Redwell spring used to chuck water all over the land, there was a broken culvert underneath. So they basically dug out the culvert, left a gully in the land and let the water run freely open. Yet again, it was awful, the destruction, but if it's looking like that, you can't really moan that much now. Can about moving that brook. Got rid of so many invertebrates and so many little bits of wildlife that was part of the ecosystem, and you got rid of it. You didn't even create a new path. Whatever. Anyway, let's keep it positive. So see, and I love this kind of weather. Makes men out of boys. It may be cold, but if you can bear it, you get to see it in all its glory. Or you can sit there and watch me film it all, which is pretty good. So sit back, enjoy your cup of cocoa, and let me do the work. There's people walking their dogs in here, which is good. We've got moles. I've never actually seen a mole. I know he's got big hands, big long beak, and he's blind. Here we go. Now this water is as fresh as you like. You don't get no fresher than this water. Straight out the ground, out of a little spring round there. We'll go to that in a moment. But for now, we'll just have a little look down here. I mean, it is, look, it is bare. There was loads of trees and debris and loads of other bits, wildlife debris. And they cleared it, which is cool. But you've interrupted it. I just hope things come back better. Could do with some trees planting down here. Wellingboroughs Eco Group, Jonathan Hornet, Marion Hawes, absolute diamonds. It'd be nice to get some trees down here. Just plant a couple randomly. Just help fill this area out a little bit. Yeah, it comes down here and then goes into the Harrowden Brook. I mean, look, you can tell how much iron is in the ground. Look at this, look. That's iron sediment. All that orangeness, that looks epic. I like that. Looks even better when you see it coming out of a railway tunnel wall. And you know what? The old broken culvert is still kicking out water there, look. So maybe they didn't remove it. Ooh. Right, okay. Should we go see the famous one? Let's go pay our respects to the holy spring of Wellingboroughs. There we are. So, that was the Red Well. It used to also be a pump as well, which used to pump water straight up the road to a reservoir and then let that water run all the way down into town to feed our breweries, which then used the water and heated it up, and then that wastewater ended up at my place of work, Wellingbourgh Museum, Dudley's Baths. So the hot water that was used to make beer was then used to heat the swimming pools for everyone to use. Oh, look, it's snowing. Right, here we are, the Red Well. The name was derived from the 14th century word Rode Wellmore, which meant reed spring, or from the Old English word Rode Wheel, meaning a rush-fringed spring. The water of the Red Well may have been used in the Druids in their religious ceremonies, but the well became fashionable in high society in about 1624 when the Duchess of Buckingham came to drink the water. In 1627, Charles I and Queen Henrietta Maria received the ambassador for Mantua in Italy at the Red Well. In 1628, King Charles I and his queen visited Wellingbourgh for the express purposes of taking those sparkly waters. Housing themselves in tented pavilions around the famous well, the young queen was keen to taste the fresh water, having heard it would aid fertility due to the high content of iron in the water. Wow, look. In 1637, they returned and stayed at the White Swan Inn on Market Square in Wellingbourgh. By this time, the Queen had given birth to 5 children. It worked. The medieval encampment. The Red Well fell into decay during the English Civil War, and the town's reputation as a spa also fell into decline during the late 17th century. Prior to the enclosure of the land in 1767, the well was used as a watering place for horses, where water gushed through a sculpture head into a large stone trough and 20 animals could drink together. The Red Well was also a source of water for other industries of the town, like the breweries. There's a lovely little poem there. In 1823, a water mill was built not far from the Red Well and was appropriately called the Red Well Mill. It appears on local maps of 1825. Red Well Mill later came to be called Kilbourne's Mill upon its changing owners. Yeah, lovely. Chester House. In the late 1850s, a pumping house was built next to the mill, which was used to pump water to a reservoir on the north side of town. And from there, the water was channeled down to be used by Dully's and Woolston's breweries in Sheep Street. Dully's then bought the rights to the famous Red Well Spring for 2000. They bought it and produced a well-respected stout that was named Red Well in honour of the water. A modern house has been since built on the approximate site of the old mill. You want to see that video? I've done that with the missus. It's beautiful. I'll leave it linked in the top. The wells of Wellingbourgh. The words well or spring were used to describe any source of water springing up naturally from the ground. There were numerous wells around Wellingbourgh. Records from 1830 show that were once 35 wells within a space of 400 yards in the Cannon Street area. Wow. During World War II, the Home Guard located 100 old wells in Wellingbourgh and found them to be used as emergency water supplies. That's cool. Oh, we've actually got proper rain now. Oh, never mind. And this is Bryant's map of 1826, and it has been amended. And we are here, look. Of course, this is your big Ketchum Road, this one here. Look how small Wellingborough used to be. Anyway, the present town name Wellingboroughs seems to have come into being about the period when the Redwell waters came into repute, and the name may have evolved to reflect the many springs or wells in the area. The name may also be the result of the town trying to build up the spa trade. Before the 17th century, the town was known as Weandelburgh, meaning the Burr, settlement of Wendell's Saxon tribal leader people. Now Wendell is his name and Burr is for burial mound, so this will be Wendell's burial mound, so Wellingborough, right? The other wells are the Hemming Well, originally situated off Former Lane. The well seems to have been used for tanning, since the only other application of the word hemming is prepared hide. So if you know, for the boot and shoe factory, the most boring stuff of Wellingborough. All right, yeah, we needed the boot and shoes to keep the war effort going, but it's not Wellingborough's greatest history, to get over it. But we did have loads of tanning, so tanning was to make the leather to make the shoes and the rest of it. Yeah. Stanwell, originally situated off Wentworth Avenue in Glen Eagles estate, this was one of the many calciferous, containing calcium, wells in the area. Stan means stone, and it has been suggested that there were quarries nearby. Yes, there was. Just over the road is Stanton Gate Quarries. You may know it, we used to call it as the bunghole. We used to take the bikes up and down this little bit. I have got a video that was done with me, Eddie, Leanne and Tommy, but putting it together is a bit hard. I'll get round to it. Right, you've then got the White Well, originally situated near the junction of Harrodham Road and Gold Street. This water was also pumped to Dully's Brewery to be used for brewing as well. So the breweries, they used to pick up all the water from everywhere and put them in. Into their beers. So Monk's Well at Croydon Abbey was a large tank or cistern fed by undrinkable spring water which watered what is now Croydon Gardens. So if you remember the big paddling pool that was right in the middle of Council Gardens, there's a spring right on the edge of that. I mean, there's still a grid there, a manhole cover, and you put your ear to it, you can actually hear it all still trickling down. But we remember the concrete bit. Before there was like 5 round circles explaining wells, there used to be a big round basin and it would fill with water for the summer and it was great, but during the winter when it all dried up, it was green slime all the way around the edge. You put 1 foot in it, you're going straight down the bottom, you ain't getting out, so they had to get rid of it. So, yeah, that used to feed that pond. So Buckwell, an important source of water for the people of Buckwell End, and the water was also pumped down to the market square. The Buckwell Green Pump became a social centre. The Lady Well, originally situated off Farnham Road, it may have been initially dedicated to a Roman deity, as Roman silver coins have been found nearby which could have been used as an offering. There's a... Excuse me, where are you? Oh, Robin just went down there. The Rising Sun Well, originally situated off Mill Road by the railway. This well faced east, hence the name. The water was used for drinking at the railway works. It was sparkly and very cold and was considered to be helpful in the treatment of eye infections. Ooh. And this here is what that is just there, if you ever knew. So the Red Well was restored in 2010, and this board was erected by Glamis Grove volunteers with the support of the Borough Council of Wellingboroughs, not Northamptonshire County Council, Wellingbourgh Council. Don't give them any credit. Anyway, there's some references there, but that's basically it. And the actual spring. Oh, someone's actually made a bit of a pond. Look, I like that. Look at that. And this is actually your water spring. There. Right, the Redwell Spring. It's not bubbling up as much today, but you can definitely see the ripples on the water there. And all that sand in the bottom, that's the sand coming out of the ground, so that's a sand well. Beautiful stuff. Glamis Woods and Meadows. Cool, right? Where do we want to go now? Don't know. I think that'll do. Just wanted to show you Glamis Woods and Meadows whilst it's all in winter conditions. Give you a little bit of history Oh, and a robin. I knew you were there somewhere, buddy. How are you? All right? I was reading that board. Did you like my voice? I mean, I'm not going to do much with you. How are you, sir? I really haven't got anything to give you. Yeah. On that beautiful note, I hope you enjoyed the video. It's only a small one. I hope you have a beautiful Christmas or solstice, whichever way you'll be celebrating. And we'll see you all again for the next episode of PurpleVision. Peace, love and light. A whole heap of unity.